Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's start our Wednesday class. But before that, let's recite these mantras. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhur Swaha, Tatsavitra Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat, Asto Ma Sadgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, Mrityurma Amritam Gamya. Om Sahna Bhavatu Sahna Bhunatu Saviryam Karvavai Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are all familiar with this term, Shankalap Shakti. So this is a Sanskrit word, Shankalap Shakti, for willpower. It is almost like a fragrance, which is a blossoming personality exudes. When the personality becomes highly integrated, that means at the bodily level, at the verbal level, and in the mental level, there is an integration. Whether it relates to material objects or spiritual attainment, this Sankalp Shakti is the guiding force behind every project. And a person who possesses Sankalp Shakti is able to keep the resolves that he or she makes. On the other hand, who lacks willpower, Sankalp Shakti will repeatedly fail to achieve his goals. We all know that at the soul level, we have infinite resources because soul is nothing but part of the infinite. And our mind draws these resources from the soul. So it's like a power comes to the mind from the soul. The mind can be either positive or negative. It can either use the energy or misuse it. Even though everyone has the same personality of immense energy, most people do not equally utilize their inner resources. Many misuse their potential because of ignorance. In other words, a person creates a negative or positive situation by willpower. For example, if you place yourself in a miserable situation, it is an expression of the negative power of your mind. So it is important to understand how to develop a positive willpower. This is the task that everyone must accomplish to feel happy, to develop a sense of dignity about oneself, and also in order to succeed in life. You must be able to see that you have the strength of will to do what is necessary in your life. And in the process, you must be especially careful not to make negative resolves. There are three directions that your willpower can take: Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic. Sattvic willpower is sublime. It manifests when you help others by directing them through your actions or through your good thoughts, good wishes, or when you develop the internal resolve that let me attain enlightenment. Let me become better. Let me become a devotee of God. That is a sattvic resolve. When you develop a sattvic will, it will begin to draw upon inner mystical resources. It's almost like you have a friend inside you who's helping you to achieve all that. And that friend is always there, willing and ready. But the first step we have to take. That friend is called divine grace. It begins to enhance it. So sattvic will is a highly advanced function of your will. And when it is executed, you will see that there's a relaxation in your personality. On the other hand, Rajasic will is guided by your ego. At the plane of ego, you develop the idea, if I were to succeed in a certain project, I should be happier, wealthier, and more prosperous. So you are relying upon the outer resources, which are not constant. That's why there's a stress, there's anxiety. On the other hand, with the sattvic willpower, there is a calmness. Sure, there's an alertness, but alertness with the calmness. And the tamasic will is completely gross. It is oftentimes enacted when a person develops the erroneous notion that someone is in his way. From a practical point of view, the person may have a perfectly rational notion that someone is against his project, or that someone is jealous of him, or that someone is somehow threatening him. As a result, he develops tamasic will and vows to revenge upon the person. So tamasic will is detrimental because if you sustain it, you will gradually weaken your spiritual sensitivity and your life will become shallow. Every negative thought that is directed towards others comes back to the person who directs it. We know that law. In fact, it harms the one who sends out the negative thoughts with double the impact. That's why it's very important for us to understand the immense resources which are right inside us, which are coming from the real us, from the source. You must be able to draw upon these resources with great patience to elevate your life. There is no limit to what you can do to elevate yourself with the help of sattvic will. The sky is the limit. Or yogically speaking, God is the limit. And we all know God is limitless. So these resources or the potential is limitless. People encounter positive and negative situations every day in life. Positive situations cause fewer problems than negative situations, which create problems like despair, frustration, worry, anxiety. So it is important to learn the art of preventing negative situations whenever possible. Because we are really wasting our energy, the energy which can be used for the higher purpose, just dealing with these negativities. If these situations cannot be prevented, learn the art of enduring them with patience and insight. For the secret of developing willpower lies in endurance. Endurance. If you continue to pursue your goals even in the middle of adversities, you will develop willpower. You must understand that if things were completely comfortable, you would never develop any willpower. All great men in every walk of life, they could be businessmen, politicians, intellectuals, or the sadhus also, have the ability to cope with adverse situations that arise in their lives. They bear insult and injury with patience and do not become demoralized when other people criticize them. So, in order to develop strength of will, you must also learn to be cautious in your dealings with other people. If you are not sufficiently cautious, you may develop a personality that is easily upset. There are so many insignificant things that go on in the world. If you are too preoccupied with those little things, then the bigger problems, when they arise, problems that should really be of concern to you, your mind is already in a state of weakness. How can you handle them? So this is because the little problems that you are making so much of will sap the energy that you might have used to surmount the bigger problems. So that's why we got to look at our life properly. Also, if you analyze your mind and become reflective, you will realize that people create their own troubles so many times. They become accustomed to putting themselves in situations where their nerves become jarred. We all know in our human body how many nerves are there and how important they are. We often pay attention to only the outer skin, not our nervous system, until it becomes weak. Every individual has the ability to discipline his personality in such a way that he can overstep the little troubles, so that when big troubles come, he will be calm and balanced. More calmness and more balance in our personality, the healthier nervous system will have. Discipline your personality so that you do not develop the worrying habit. You will find that when this habit infests your mind, you will worry no matter what situation you are in. You may have thought that if you were rich, you wouldn't have to worry about a thing. And then one day you become rich. And then you find yourself that your worries have multiplied along with your money. Because the habit of the worrying, you did not let go. Nothing in the world can remedy your worry except your own philosophical insight. Develop the insight that you are sustained by the divine hand. Develop faith in God. Develop faith in the divine plan. If you have faith, you will not have to worry. If you are in the process of overcoming the worrying habit, negative imaginations, fear, and agitation, then you will begin to develop willpower. So willpower, the sattvic willpower, these negativities, they don't have any place there. You have to uproot them. During this will make you personality flexible and relaxed, because you know that whatever idea that enters your mind is not an impossibility. Nothing is impossible in this world. It is something you can accomplish. So you will draw that strength from the inner core of yourself. Further, as you develop more sattvikta, the ideas that enter your mind are not guided by your ego, but by cosmic will. Or you can call it a God's will or universal will, whatever you want to call it. But it's bigger than your ego. There is no doubt in your heart about that then. When saints and sages take up a project, they are completely relaxed because they know that the one who handles the project and the one who leads the project to success is the divine self. It's not the personal limited ego. So divine self has no problems. Why should we worry? I still remember my own Gurudevji's words when we bought this ashram, the new property. Definitely it was a lot bigger than what we could afford. We were worried. Called Guruji, his words, भगवान के लिए क्या मुश्किल है? वो छत फाड़ कर देते हैं. And that's exactly what happened. So if we make our own project, sure, then the ego is erupting. When we make it a God's project, let him worry about it. But to have that faith. You should develop willpower not for petty things, but for tuning yourself to God, though. Because if the resources are big, we got to use those resources for the bigger project. To the extent that you do this, you begin to discover immense power of will within yourself. Your mind becomes a reservoir of energy, and your good thoughts uplift countless people. You realize you are not a limited personality because you have discovered universality within yourself. You see the whole cosmos inside you. This microcosm, when it becomes one with the macrocosm, the potential is unlimited. This is the goal of developing willpower. A person who is interested in developing his personality should adopt a measure of discipline according to his capacity and circumstances in life. There are various kinds of discipline. Getting up early in the morning, planning your day with a particular schedule, fasting or giving up some food or drink for a certain period of time. All of these are measures that strengthen the will in the initial stages. We call them vrats also. Idea of keeping these vrats or resolutions is to strengthen your willpower. But disciplines of this type in themselves should not become the end. Keep that in mind. They are the means, not the end. You should not go overboard because these kinds of discipline are limited. The idea behind discipline is so you can develop a highly elevated mind that utilizes every situation efficiently. In adopting a course of discipline, you must understand the appropriateness of a certain austerity depends on many factors: the time, the place, those you associate with, your stage of life, your own level of spiritual evolution, etc. So, in other words, do not be copycats. Look within. What are you working with? Do not try to compete with others. If somebody who lives close to Ganga Mata makes a resolve that every morning I'm going to visit that Ganga Mata, take a bath in there. But in living in America, if we think that we got to do that, somebody will call us insane. So we got to be very practical about our discipline. As you evolve, the disciplines you adopt will be different from those which were meaningful at lesser stages of evolution. So we got to keep on improving, keep on paying attention, and keeping that goal in mind always. In disciplining yourself, you must always be careful and alert not to undertake something that is going to hurt you. It could be about eating also. Suppose you decide to give up protein-rich foods for a week, live only on fruits, and at the end of the week, you say, I feel as though I have so much more willpower. And then you think that I'll do it for a month or a year or 2 years. Such a thinking may be harmful for you. Since dietary matters do not follow ordinary mathematics. Remember that. If you ignore the laws of health, you might become terribly sick at the physical level also. You should also realize that there are certain defects involved in the ordinary measures of willpower. For example, you might declare, starting today, I'm going to give up sugar for a whole week. Then you start counting the days and striking each one off the calendar. On the evening of the 6th day, you say, at last, the week is almost over. Tomorrow I can have a dessert. During the week, you become almost obsessed, imagining all the joys of eating sweets. And you can think of nothing else. So, although abstaining from sugar is undoubtedly a discipline that can give you a certain amount of willpower, but your inner fancy of enjoying the sweet may debilitate your willpower. So you got to be careful about this. So by doing this, sure, you have completed a week of restraint, but you have not gained much. Lesser disciplines can be adopted according to your needs. They should not become a major part of your life. Develop a broad understanding of how you can discipline yourself, take advantage of every situation in life. So, like everything you do from morning till evening, watch. Learn to balance yourself in the middle of adversity. Some bad news came. Can you still stay calm? With a stronger willpower, you'll be able to. With a sattvic willpower, you will be. That's how we judge ourselves. Meditation, prayers, job, satsang, balancing your life day by day, reading about the lives of great people, following their examples, all these will enable you to shake off weakness. feeble-mindedness, and the unnecessary wastage of mental energy. Because whenever we worry, whenever we are fearful, we are wasting a lot of energy. As you will develop your will, you will see that you are evolving so effectively. You feel that you are one with God. You cannot explain it, but you feel the oneness. You will see that God's will is your will. And that's where the immense joy and the freedom comes. And that's what the rishis, when they uttered those verses, you can feel it, that where is it coming from? How can they feel the oneness? You're all familiar with this verse. Maybe you have not memorized it, but most of you have studied with me from Taittiriya Upanishad. In Taittiriya Upanishad, there's a Rishi Trishanku. Trishanku is a father of Raja Harishchandra. And who is Raja Harishchandra? They are Suryavanshi. They are the ancestors of Bhagwan Ram. So this Trishanku, Rishi Trishanku, in his meditation, he recited this mantra, which is, I can clearly see that it's a formula for discovering boundless will. So willpower is so important. So we got to learn from these rishis, and we got to do what they did so that we have that boundless joy all the time. This mantra is called Brahma Gyan Prakashak mantra. Just that one mantra in that Taittiriya Upanishad. Aham vrikshasya reriva. I'm sure you can recall that. Kirtihi prishtam gireriva. Udharva pavitraho vajinev swa amritam asmi. Dravinam swacharsam sumed amritokshita. This is the mantra. This can be a peace chant which will inspire us to develop our willpower. He says, see, I am the stimulator of the world tree. Aham vrikshasya reriva. I am. My glory is above the mountain top. Kirtihi prishtam gireriva. My wisdom is like the effulgent sun that shines above the heavens. I am the very embodiment of nectar. Amrit asmi. My wealth is the shining treasure. My intellect has been purified by the waters of immortality. Thus did sage Trishanku declare based on his spiritual experience. Iti Trishankoho Ved Nuvachanam Iti. May there be a threefold peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So this is a Shanti mantra also, which really takes us towards that ultimate willpower. Not just a regular willpower to finish our projects or to do our duties, but to attain the ultimate goal of life. because this peace chant suggests the immense power that abides in all of us, not just only the Rishi Trishanku. And we all are familiar with his son's resolution, Harish Chandra. Even after 2 yugs, we still remember Satyavadi Harish Chandra. That was the resolution that came from the willpower. Or even after that, when Bhagwan Ram. So the whole Surya Vanshi, when we look at it, we definitely celebrate their days, their birthdays. We celebrate Diwali, we celebrate the Dussehra. But the real celebration is, can we bring these kind of qualities in our personality? It's very easy to light the lamp outside, especially these days, the electric lamps. So easy to learn to light the lamp within us with this sattvikta, sattvic willpower. It's very easy to eat the mithai, the sweets. Can we speak sweetly? No matter what? Not just to the people we love, but anybody. Is there a sweetness in our mouth? All the time? That's what we got to say. So when you become aware of that power, which is inside you, which is who you are, you will join with the sage Trishanku in declaring that I am the mover of this world tree. The purpose of developing willpower is to shake off the illusion of the world process form, which we right now realize that this world is only this physical world. We got to remember that I am the immortal personality, not the mortal personality. I am the non-dual self, eternal self. That is the kind of a willpower we want to have. That's the kind of a Shankalap Shakti we should work on. The world process is an overgrowth in one's consciousness caused by Maya. All our thoughts, all our actions, all our deeds, all our words, they are full of Maya. That Maya could be attachment to our other human beings. That Maya sometimes take the shape of attachment to this worldly wealth. Or the Maya could be our own glory we want others to sing. The power. In Sanskrit, it's called Prutreshna, Vitteshna, Lokeshna. We have to shake it off. And by shaking it, we can attain liberation. No other way. We can attain our goal of life. Shake it off. The whole project consists of shaking, uprooting, and finally removing it. And to remove it and throw it away too. As long as this will has not developed, a human being's will is feeble and insignificant. That means we have that will, but we have not found it yet. We have the strength, we have the power, but we have not connected our mind with that. For example, you will for small things like a house or a car or some property, or sometimes just a little recognition from others. When these things come to you, you become happy. Because you think you have developed a willpower, or you think that you have learned how to pray and your prayers are coming true. This is true as certain extent, but will is not there. Ultimately, your will must become so purified that it harmonizes with the divine will. Saints and sages come to this stage where they do not permit ego's will. Rather, they feel, let it be his will, not mine. I think we have only 5 minutes. I just wanted to go through these words also with you a little bit, even though you might have learned it earlier too. The first term where he says, Aham vrikshasya reriva. I am the mover of this world tree. That means you are not a feeble personality, subject to birth and death. You got to inquire into your essential nature by studying the scriptures, reflecting upon their teachings. The world cannot shake you, rather, you have the power to shake the world and to uproot it from your mind. So, having that kind of a confidence, aham vrikshasya veriva. The term next one is kirti prishtam girerev. My glory is above the mountain top. So this is not the ego talking, because there's no need to seek any glory in this world. Because the glory of the soul itself is beyond the mighty Himalaya, beyond imagination. The innermost soul in you is God, the Absolute. That's what it means. Kirti prishtam girereva. Don't need recognition in this world. Don't need any pat on the back. Don't need any certificates. I know who I am. Then he says, Udharva pavitraho vajiniv. My wisdom is like the effulgent sun that shines above in the heavens. By realizing the self, one rises beyond the relative concepts of heavenly realms. The joyous worlds that are attained as a result of virtuous karmas are little compared to the attainment of supreme bliss. So this heavenly abode or heavenly place is insignificant when we look at the whole picture. Swa amritam asmihi. I am the very embodiment of nectar. This implies the innermost self in everyone is deathless. Amritam. Nectar removes death and bestows immortality. So knowledge of the self removes the body idea. And outcome of that is what? No fear of death. No fear of death. Again, I can think of my Guruji's words. जो भगत है वो डरता नहीं. And Bhagat is really, who is a Bhagat? Who is loving God? No fear. Then he says, Dravinam swacharsamam. My wealth is the shining treasure. It is the treasure of realization. We often think that treasure is only what we keep it in our bank accounts or in our stock portfolios. The treasure of realization, when you become the self, you have possessed all that. Whatever else, you have possessed it. Such a treasure is not ordinary treasure. It is not the perishable treasure that comes and goes. No thief can steal it. It cannot decay. It cannot be burnt. When you attain the treasure of the self, you possess all that is forever and forever and forever. That is the real treasure. Sumedh amrito akshitaha. My intellect has been purified by the waters of immortality. This means that your intellect has been bathed in the waters of samadhi. See, in the samadhi word, there is a dhi also. Not the man, but the dhi. We have to wash, purify that dhi. And in samadhi, that's what happens. It is not ordinary any longer because it has become intuitive. This dhi of mine is not just only for the material world. This dhi I'm using to pierce through the material and get in one with the spiritual. And in the last line it says, iti trishankoho vedaha anuvachanam iti. When sage Trishanku entered into profound samadhi, this was his revelation. And this is not only for that sage Trishanku alone. This is a journey for all of us, each and every one of us. But we got to learn to embark on this journey. So he says, I am uprooter or the stimulator of the world tree. My glory is above the mountain top. My wisdom is like the effulgent sun that shines above the heavens. I am the very embodiment of nectar. My wealth is the shining treasure. My intellect has been purified by the waters of immortality. Thus did sage Trishanku declare, based on his spiritual experience. And may there be peace, he says. So these sages, after attaining this kind of a level, they just bless us also. They keep blessing us because they do feel compassion for us. The people like us who are immersed in Maya, they are giving us the blessings so that we can rise above too. So the threefold peace, I'm sure you all are familiar with, where we negate the three types of miseries. Misery is caused by the body, misery is caused by our mind, misery is caused by our intellect. This is one way to look at it. Another way you can say that misery is caused by body and mind. Misery is caused by other people. Because we live with other people, there could be a misery. Misery is caused by elemental forces, the storms, the hurricanes, the earthquakes, all kinds of miseries. So these sages, they keep on blessing us so that, because if we are miserable, then we cannot do our sadhana. So they say, may you have this blessing. So we got to reflect upon this peace chant also. And we got to pulsate with the will that uproots the tree of the world process. We got to learn how to climb to that height of the glory, the bliss of liberation. This is for all of us. This is not just to read and memorize. This is something we need to experience. This is our homework. Let's stop it here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much for joining.